Hello, good morning everyone. So we are going to continue persistency, how we're going to use the persistency and the connection type local. We discussed and we saw the last class. Okay, so this variable. So in this class, we're going to see the connection type going to be local to the network CLI, and how we're going to maintain with the something called variable parameter, and how what are the predefined variable parameter we have in that. So before that, to understand the variable parameter, we have to understand the variables. And as soon as I will switch to local to network CLI, do we have any challenge to connect? Okay, so let's do. I'm going to change my local connectivity with the network connection, with the network CLI. Okay, this is my connections. From local I move to the network connection. Any question, guys?
No, sure.
Okay, and I'm going to remove this credential because I want to see how those parameter credential parameter going to be work in network CLI. Clear my objective. So today we will concentrate. I should not provide this provider and this legacy method of this. Okay, we will use the actual the protocol throughout the world which is latest used. So I'm going to simplify the my code. I have used, instead of local connections, network CLI, and then I pass the some parameter and the command, and I want to see the output. So I'm going to save this and let's start our. So for MyPlay, of course, I need to pass the credential because till now I did not pass any credential parameter into in my play. I want to see what is the first challenge once I will move to the from local to network CLI. I'm going to use the admin, and it's a failed. So let's understand why it's a fail. Unable to automatically determine the host network OS. Try to understand the error. Please manually configure Ansible network OS. Let me copy this with the same error for all three and we will discuss this. Copy this. Let me go practice or any untitled, and I'm going to this. I'm going to. So this is the error showing that unable to automatically determine the host network OS. Do you remember? I told you this is in local, it's done by the local to the system. In the network OS, they try to identify who are you, who are the remote device. So we have great number of remote device. Maybe Cisco, it may be Juniper, it may be maybe F5, maybe Checkpoint, maybe Edwa, it may be WLC. Are you understanding the variety what going to be captured in the remote? Yes, I understand these are the network. Yeah, like, but there is a lots of vendor available in the market. You have to define your vendor. Are you guys understanding me? You have to define your variable. So Cisco comes under the variable that is called iOS. What's come under iOS variable? How do you get this variable? You have list of variable. I will show you. Does not matter. Try to understand this variable defined for Cisco. If you use any Cisco device, you have to use the iOS. Now come to the. So you have to manually configure the Ansible network OS value. You have to pass this value. I'm going to copy this and telling that this value is supposed to be passed as a IOS. Okay, then he understand we are communicating report device, which is I'm going to communicate, that is called iOS Cisco. Clear, guys? This part clear
Yes.
or not? So let's understand, define this parameter into the MyPlay. I'm going to define this. I'm going to copy this and I will define in the variable itself. Let me define here. I'm going to say this variable equal to iOS. Let's see if I define this after connections. I'm telling the Ansible network OS is nothing, is iOS. Let's see this is giving the error or not. Okay, so I'm going to do the testing admin and error. Guys, is not a valid attribute for a play. Okay, this is not a valid attribute for the play, means this is called variable parameter. You should not define here. You have to define as a variables. So go for variables and define this parameter. I defined iOS is not a valid attribute. So it's not a valid attribute you're going to use here. Okay, this is a variable parameter. Let's say I have defined the variable parameter, then we'll try to solve. This time they accept as a variable. So this is variable parameter, we agree. And so you understand this is not attribute, this is the variable parameter. We define that variable is a global variable. I'm using this as this connection. Now moving to the from local to the CLI, network CLI. So you have to define, you are dealing with the which remote device, which vendor. For every vendor, this value will be different. Even for Cisco iOS, you have XRE, you have XE, you have Nexus, NOx. In the Cisco also you will see different kind of variable.
If we have different vendors, suppose Cisco and Juniper, so can we define two variable here, like iOS and space for
Of course,
Juniper?
of course. But you have to give the command wise segregation. I will come on that, don't worry. Generally you can't do the activity in the same play. Suppose you want to do activity, see, automation is a part of the same module, same. Try to minimize your works, try to segregate your work. Suppose you want to do even Cisco, even I segregate. I don't want to do in single play because mistake going to be uncontrolled. Suppose
Yes,
I have
understood.
100 device of Nexus and the 2960 and the 45x100, so I will do for 30 device for 45x different play I will do. Okay, and
Yes,
within
understood.
single play I will create the multiple play so that I can understand the separate device. I will come on that how you can create the multiple rather than creating in the same variable. You create the different play, you can add one more play here. Are you understanding
Yes,
what I try to
yes,
say?
yes, understanding.
So this is a single play. Within single play I can create another play by creating, by giving name. This is dedicated for Juniper, or this is dedicated for Next OS. What do you say? So this way you can better manage your play rather than bringing here. I'm able to answer your questions.
Ashok, in
Yes,
which scenario it will use?
Yes, if you have in your scenario, if you have all kind of device like Nexus, you have Juniper, you have Checkpoint, you have F5. You create single play for every, and you can create mega playlist within the one single play, multiple play.
Okay.
Okay, because I want every model supposed to be different place so that I can have set of command of control. Those command will be different, those deployment will be different, maybe our objective will be different. For model wise, the objective will be different, your command line will be different. So we will see those challenges. Let's go for step by step. So in this case, we have to define the variable. So you understand, guys? Comfortable what I want to teach you the baby step first. So this Ansible network OS, you have to pass the parameter. Where do you get this error? Here I'm getting error and it's telling manually configure network OS. Clear, guys? So first parameter we studied. What is that first parameter? That's called Ansible network OS. Clear? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move to the other parameter. Astos, okay, I understand this is the one parameter. What are the other parameter? So I'm going to share you with you in my Git profile. Don't worry. It's detail my variable parameters. Here, variable inventory parameter. Okay, so are you able to see my screen? Comfortable, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's understand. Ansible host. Understand, this is the, don't do spelling mistakes. You have to follow exactly same keyword. These are the predefined variables. Okay, to maintain the persistency. Okay, so you have total which you going to use in the day-to-day activity for your production environment in the network CLI. Only this 3 plus 2 plus 4 plus 1. So how much total? 10. So this 10 parameter you have to remember, and you have to very comfortable with this, because you're going to see today, you will see how these are very important role do have in this. We will continue in next class also. We will see that, and we will discuss and define each and every parameter. Don't worry. And we will see what are the way we can define, how we can secure, and then we will use the encryption method like vault. Do you know the vault? In my existing organization, they are using for security. Vault. Have you heard about vault, Naval?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. If you are working in
We
organ, yes. So we will use vault here to encrypt. Don't worry, we will see in detail. So first you understand this. Ansible host is nothing. Your host, like 172, 192, whatever the IP address, or the your inventory host name. Ansible port. Ansible port. Of course, we are using the port number 22. If you want to use other port number, that you have to change your infrastructure. Better probably use this port 22 only, because it's secure. So you can define this by default. This is enable this port. You whether define or not, we will see that part. Ansible user. Yes, what is your username? Ansible SSH pass says that what is your user's password. Okay, now Ansible SSH private key file we will see later on in the, I will not use right now this. Okay, we will see later in upcoming classes the use of this, but I will use this. Ansible become, what do you mean by become? Privilege access. So what is the privilege access in iOS or in Cisco device?
Admin user.
No. How do you
Yeah,
get from your user access to privilege access?
enable mode.
Enable mode.
Excellent. Thank you. So for the Linux, we saw there's a privilege become, you have to become. So same become concept came for the Cisco device. So for going enable mode, you have to use the become method. So what is the become method? It's nothing. Enable for iOS is a enable, and then you have become user, you have become pass, and then last we saw Ansible Network OS. So your operating system, what could be? This is the latest new in Ansible 2.5. They introduce post 2.5. This is the latest technology. Please concentrate. No one using local is depreciated. Here guys, parameter easy है, just for the enable method you should remember, and then user credential, port number, host. Let's use this parameter and understand is working or not. Okay, then let's come to the our play. I'm going to define this. So how you can define this? Here the challenge is that in the infra what we have, if you log in this device, you will come to direct on privilege mode. See, you are not in enable mode. Are you in enable mode, guys? Everyone?
Yes, Pradeep.
No. So we can't
Correct.
do this lab on the in virtual environment. You have to use this real environment. Okay, like we have rack infra.
Right.
Yes. So here in rack infra, when you log in, they will ask you credential. Okay, so I will show you that lab later once I will switch on, but let's understand the play. Understand the play. We will create first play and we'll try to test over this whether it's working or not. Okay, here there's no meaning because we have privilege access, but how do you get the if you don't have privilege? So tell me, in MyPlay, what command I would do I supposed to add so that in production environment we need credence? Which command actually need credence?
So
Tell
right
me.
now you have got show clock and show IPR. Out of these two,
I'm sorry, I did not get you.
so I was trying to understand. Right now, you in your YAML, you have got two commands. Are you
Yes.
asking which of these two commands would
Yes,
require?
what command I will add? Do I need the enable password? Means enable pass, without enable password those output not going to capture. Also running configuration. Running configuration you cannot capture if you don't have enable mode. Are you agree or not? In
Yes,
production
correct.
environment,
Yeah, right now it will be.
do you need credential? Otherwise, write access. Okay. So for running command, we have credential. So let's define the credential. So right now I have defined the variable here, but this is not a right way to define. Where we have to define the variable on the explicit inventory, because we use them. What we use? Tell me.
Host is
Persistency.
persistence.
Persistency. The terminology called persistence. So let's understand, do we have, I have one variable already defined, this routers. Okay, so routers, this is the inventory we have defined, but I should define my own explicit inventory. So I'm going to define one explicit inventory. Let's do, I have any inventory. I'm going to check. Yes, I have inventory serve. Last time we have made the inventory serve. I'm going to use same. This is for server, so I'm going to use for the same inventory. So I'm going to use the vim sudo vim. I'm going to add it my inventory. Now I'm going to what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring my variable parameter to the explicitly outside code. Okay, before doing that, let's do within the code and test it. Yeah, that's going to be good testing. So I'm going to define my variables. I define the network Ansible this. Now tell me what is my next variable for username? Anyone? Easy, our
Log.
Ansible
Log.
user. So let me see this. Do you remember Ansible user? Right? Yes, no,
Yes.
yes. So what is the admin? And then Ansible pass.
SSH.
SSH
SSH path.
pass. Thank you. SSH pass. That's the admin. Just I pass this too. Right, guys? Any questions still here? Should I move? I save this and then I'm going to play my. I'm going to remove this credential because this credential already integrated with my play. Let's see it's working or not. If we
You haven't provided this provider.
That's a legacy method,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
when you use the local, then you have to pass
Local.
provider. That's I'm telling you. That's a huge, very good question. It's a valid question. Here, why we are getting this show running configuration? Do you know? Because they did not having any provision for the become. Otherwise, you have to pass the become admin here. Here actually show running command you will not get in real time. I will do that lab, don't worry. In the real time I will show you. Try to understand today. If you run this command on real infrastructure, you will get the error for this. You are not authorized to do this.
So
Yes.
Ashu,
Because,
let me ask you this. Let's say in this case you have a user admin, right? So on your Cisco router running, I don't know, cat iOS or whatever, if you create a user admin with privilege 15, shouldn't it automatically go into enable
Yes,
mode?
excellent, excellent. Thank you, Nikhil. I want you guys to come. Yes. If using the admin, even though this going to not going to ask any these users that was my objective my project when I will come to the end so that you can able to understand the macro level of challenge if this user and this going to be privilege level 1 2 or define that not going to bring. Okay, then we have challenge, then they will ask you the enable. So that time what you have to define, I will come, I will do the real time project, I will switch on my rack and I will show you. Okay, but we don't have the privilege testing for this device. Suppose I want to go to enable mode, so I will do exit. So you can see we are on console, you are not coming, but in real time you will come out in the privilege from privilege mode to enable mode for user mode, then you need the privilege. Okay.
Ashubhai, on this, on the router one,
Hmm.
can you run show run pipe include admin?
Yes, I can run.
So if we change this username admin, instead of doing privilege 15, we change it from 15 to let's say 104 and set a secret. Wouldn't
Okay,
it ask
so let's
ask the
create another user. So that's also good. Let me try for this, and username I'm going to give like admin 123. Okay, and then secret privilege I'm not passing here. Okay, I'm not worried about it. Usually I'm going to give the admin 123. Just I did not given any privilege to this, and let's check it out. It's available there. Now
Same
for the
this.
only one device, so I'm going to use, instead of, I'm going to change my play with the 192.168.122.10 with my daughter's inventory. Okay, and then I'm using 123, and then I'm using 123.
Just write the config on the router one.
Okay, so let's do the right. That's not going to be impact anyone anything if you not do the right also, but it's a good practice to do. Okay, good. So let's see this is working or not, because I'm using for admin 123. That's going to be good case study. Let's try this. I'm going to pass the play. Error. So what the error try to understand? Yeah, I was try to show this command error, show run, how run, I think show run. Yes, show run command is invalid differentiate, because we could not run this command failed to run. If I will remove this command, let's see, then with this privilege supposed to work. Okay, yes, you can do the testing on this also, because I have not tried here. I thought it's supposed to go to direct in credential. Excellent. Yes, wow, wonderful. So you can test this lab also here.
So,
So
but actually, in this case,
yes,
if it was not working for Shoran, but it should work at least for other two. Maybe it could give the error for Shoran, but I think why it
no,
shouldn't work
because we
for.
are using the user. Users are not a privileged user. So I could show this same testing in the real infrastructure, because I have tested there. So I presume that is not going to work here, but it's working fine, it's accepted. So here challenge try to understand what I want to say you, that you need the become password you have to be. So let's understand. I will define the become enable password here. So config terminal this, and I will give enable secret password ccie. I'm given enable secret ccie. So now if you are using this, you can use the show running command by define with this. You have to pass ansible. You can pass this parameter here also, I think so. Let's pass this parameter here, ansible become math. You have to tell become yes, I want to become yes. Then you have to give ansible become method. Become, what is the method, anyone? What is method? Tell me. Your enable is a method, right, by which you're going to get the privilege access. Then you have to pass the attribute that is called enable pass become pass. That's the ansible. You can define the other than that user also, but I want to keep the same user. So that's the become, and you're going to use the pass. So pass is ccie. So what I have done, I'm going to please enable the authorization. Okay, yes. Then what is the enable method called? Sorry, become method called here enable, by giving the enable command. Then if the whatever the required enable password, then he is able to run this, otherwise not. Now let's save this play and run we are able to cache this. So earlier, do you remember we are giving the prompt as a K, capital K, dash dash become. So we are not using that right now. So clear, guys, everyone here. So what is the
Yes.
variable parameter? How to use this? Yes, no, any questions?
Makes sense.
Makes sense? Thank you so much. Now, this is not a right method. If anyone see your play, they can identify that your username, password, everything. What do you say? Right or wrong?
Yeah.
This supposed to be integrated outside your play, right? That's the challenge because this is your credential. So how you going to remove this is from outside these variables I want, but I don't want this behavioral parameter. So let's see next part, how to integrate this variable to my explicit inventory. Okay, so I'm going to create, come to the so we have inventory file here. We saw that cat inventory file, you can give any name. Okay, and we have defined this, so I'm going to use same inventory file and we're going to manage everything, credential and everything in my inventory file. This is local to my system, that I have my own control, and later on I can encrypt that. Even though someone access my system, no one can open this file. That we will see later, second layer of security. So first let's define your play with the explicit inventory. Okay, so I'm going to sudo edit this beam and then go for inventory file, pass your credential. We are in inventory file, so we have one file already defined. I'm going to go for insert mode and then let's define another event class. So I'm going to define my class. This is sorry, so class is router. So I want to keep as simple as, so 192.168.122.10, 192.168.122.20, and then we have 192.168.122.30. Okay, this is my class. I want my variable define. What have to do? I have to define on the top of my class. Why? Because it will open the new class. I don't want to define anything within the class. So let's define these variables. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the variable, this variable. Okay, I'm going to paste over here, and you can define this variable like this. So you have to define in single line. Same thing I'm doing in single line. I'm nothing doing this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this in single line with the single space. Okay, you can do this addition part in your notepad and then define this. Okay, so let me do this, and please practice this in your home as much as possible, because this is going to help you by practice only. So this is the variable I have defined, but we have to define my host name also here. In this manner of defining definitions, you have to define the host name. So let's define my host name. So I'm going to define Ansible parameter host. It's a hostage or host. I think host is a parameter. So please keep spellings, and then colon, instead of colon you have to use the equal to without a space and give the host 192.168.122. I will come with the other solution part, don't worry. I'm going to show you for one. Then instead of the colon you have to use the equal to parameter without the space. Without a space, try to understand, concentrate here. And you have to use, you should not use the space. If you use a space, it will understand different parameters. The space is defined by the, so be careful with the spacing. Okay, it's define the different. Okay, now last one is, this is only one time business, guys. It's only one time. So once you define this parameter, okay, now I given the host, I will define my the port number also. So I will define port number also. That's called ANSIBLE port. I'm going to define here ANSIBLE port equal to 22 and a space. Now this is complete. What I'm going to do, I'm going to save this file as colon right quit, and let's see how it's look like. So this is file. So this is called Ansible host, this Ansible port number 22, Ansible network OS iOS, Ansible user admin 123, and then password, and then become yes privilege, and the become method enable, become pass ccie. Clear, guys, this parameter, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, let's see it's working or not. Okay, so I define this. I will remove in MyPlay completely this part. I removed, and this is my command. I want to run all these parameter. MyPlay is become shrink, become smaller. Just define one time one. Okay, and I'm going to save my play. Let's run this play, and we will try to see what are the error, and we will try to resolve them. So enable to automatically determine host network OS. I have defined host network OS or not. We have defined, please manually define this. This is telling I'm not able to capture this. You have to define this. I have already defined. Do we not defined? Let's define again, and let's see next level of error. So I'm going to follow the error, and I'm going to define the variable again here, and this time with the colon. In play we have to define colon. Now you do this. Let's see what is the next level of error or challenge. This is failed, I hope so. This failed means whatever we define the parameter, it's not using this parameter. How we supposed to make the use? Anyone?
Might be we have not defined this inventory in play.
Inventory in place, guys. We have to define under the class this inventory. Then only going to work. Okay, so I'm going to remove this inventory. This is not, I want this option supposed to come from you, because they sense with the class. They did not sense with the raw inventory, guys. This is raw inventory for them. Let's create the class define the inventories. Okay, you understand? Don't define your inventory like that. So I came to inventory file, go for insert mode. Now what I'm going to do, to define the inventory. So I'm going to comment out this first. There's no meaning of this inventory. I'm going to comment out this and copy this. I'm going to copy and I will define this to my inventory class inventory. And as my class inventory I having host defined already, while you are editing, be careful, guys. So no need to define the host name with the space. Let's save this. Escape. I'm going to do the testing for one only right now. And right quit. And now we have inventory cat this. I comment out this. I have inventory this, and we have passed the all parameter here. Clear, guys, how I pass the parameter? Now let's see play here. So here I remove all the inventory, only one inventory host, and let's see it's working or not. And what is the new challenge? Feel unable to determine the host network OS manually. You have to define. It's not passing the parameter. Why? Supposed to pass the parameter. Anyone, guys, why it's not working, guys? Anyone? What we have done mistake?
We have not defined this secret
Inventory
level.
file we have not defined. We have not defined the inventory file because we have explicit inventory, guys. Are you understand?
Yes.
I have not defined inventory file. What is my inventory file? That's right. We have not defined the inventory file. I'm supposed to define the inventory file. Otherwise, which inventory he will go for? Explicit inventory we have to define. Okay, so you understand, guys, what we have done the mistake?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me try for the first option. I supposed to not get them this one. Check this inventory file what we have done here. So here, go for this. So because I'm not using the inventory file that time, let me test for that. We have to go for insert mode. I don't want this. You go for comment out. I'm commenting out this, and I'm going to use only this without class, because for my understanding this supposed to be variable parameter, and variable parameter may be defined without class also. So do you understand? This testing was failed last time because I have not defined the inventory. It's not came in my mind whether the inventory is missing. Clear, guys, what I'm doing? Everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'm testing whether it's working or not. So cat, let's see this cat inventory. We have enabled, we have this uncommented. Now I'm going to run the MyPlay with the inventory. Let's see, it's skip no host match. Yes, so we are right track. We have to follow the inventory. Without class it's not going to work. Sorry. I have to go for.
Ashubhai, can we do one more thing? So keep the
Yes.
first Ansible host as is under router class,
Excellent.
uncomment
I
one.
understand. Thank you. Yes, we can do that. So you understand, guys, because this is we kept this and we're going to remove uncomment.
Or maybe you can bring from Ansible onwards. You can bring it down and comment it.
Ah, yes. So I commented out this and then save this. So guys, you have to try each and every case. There is no book written for this, but by practice only you can do. This is fatal error. I have something I have done wrong. So let's see the. This is a comment. Okay, this is commented out. Okay, let me delete this because I can copy paste. I don't want to see this one. Insert mode and uncomment out, and let's delete this. Oh, it's not deleting.
So Ashubhai, get out of. Okay.
But let me. So we have proper one. Okay, now I can. It's a defined. I think without class is supposed to not work. Class is a one of the parameter whether they deduct. So now we have this. Okay, now it's neat and clean. Let's test for this. It's working or not. Inventory, using the inventory. So we have to use the class parameter. It's a defined class parameter. So what is the class parameter? You have to bring entire stuff under the class. Just copy this and we're going to define this parameter with the specific host. We have to bring insert mode and then paste it. I'm going to delete bear with me, this must work. You delete this. We have host. Now let's save this. So we saw this is working fine. Okay, excellent. Now what I have to do for the all the device, I have to set the same parameter. So yes, you have to do for if you want to work with the all the device, you have to add this parameter because these are the common parameter do we have, right? So I'm going to copy this. Wait, I'm going to copy from here and I'm going to define this OR parameter to all the device. Copy and go for insert mode. I'm going to define paste because these are the common parameter. So just you have to take care about the spacing and the parameters what you pass. Now I'm going to save this. I will come with the other solution also, don't worry. This is the little here inventory I have pass. No, let me create the this is only for one because my play is
Yes.
supposed to define as the entire group. class, entire class, routers, silence. I So you can see the power of that. What is the benefit of this? Anyone? Immediate benefit. Suppose you
Your
have,
credential is not visible in play now.
sorry.
Your credential is not visible in play now.
Okay, great. That is one part. Second, this is one part. Of course, we have objective of that. Why it's failing for this too? Anyone? Because then the user and credential is not defined. These routers.
Admin 123 is not defined.
Yes, admin 123 is not defined. So let's
So do one
define.
thing, don't do admin 123, just in R1 make it again admin. So instead of
No, we
going to
have admin one. If you want to do this, okay, let's. That's also good here. Means instead of that, go for no, yeah, it's the easy better because three device. Let me complete this because I have to entire go to and we have to change the admin. Oh, we can use that later. Then yes, that going to be better use. Let me go for the um, inventory file. I will change this. Okay, and I will go and I will do insert mode, and I'm going to change the inventory file name. So this is admin. Instead of admin I have to go anyhow. It's having the privilege access, so there is no meaning, but let's understand the process. That's important. Okay, I have done means my credential is changed. We will see next level how we can multiplex this. Right now individually, if you have 100 of device, we have to define this 100 each and every device, so you should not do that. I will show you how you have to do this. Let me see
Ashwai
the
play or okay, okay.
wait, let me see this. Yes, now it's okay. So let me play with the inventory. It's going to find for so attributor behavior. So you saw that your attributor behavior is integrated with a different explicit file. It's not into play. If someone gives see the play also, they are not able to identify your credential. This is one. Second most full use as a network engineer. Suppose one of device having my enable password, someone's secret enable password is xyg123 have given, right? So if you run this play, this is going to be wrong. All right, tell me.
It won't impact because it's
I
referring the inventory.
yeah, again, I'm not able this lag. Okay, so I stuck. So it will get the error, guys. It will get the error. Okay, for the enable you will not get this right now because it's the privilege mode. So you do this by yourself. Just I want to show you what you have to change in your inventory. So beauty of that, you go and change your inventory with the enable password. Instead of ccie, you give the enable password as xyg. Right, are you guys understanding what you have to do?
Yes.
So you have to pass your enable.
Also, Ashwai, session will be too lengthy now, so
Okay,
I think we can
yes,
discuss
I'm going to
this.
stop here. So guys, yes, true, and maybe we will lose our this. So let's stop the session over here, and I'm going to continue this class next level, next attribute, how we going to multiplex. Bye bye, see you in next class.